Shalom and welcome to 2 Minutes of Torah. This share is entitled Daf Yomi Chagiga Chav Zayin Amud Aleph. This is actually the last daf in Masechet Chagiga, introducing the concept of Gehenim. The topic was the most controversial one. Is actually part of the Maimonidean controversy 1,000 years ago. The Rambam always spoke about the great reward of Olam Haba, even more than Chiyas HaMeisim, even though, of course, he made Chiyas HaMeisim one of the 13 principles of faith, but he spoke very much about Olam Haba, and that a person's greatest loss is simply ceases to exist and doesn't merit Olam Haba. Where does Gehenim fit in for the Rambam's philosophy? Not so clear. Many rabbis jumped on him and said he doesn't believe in Gehenim, and it's Mamre Chazal, our Gemara here, other Gemaras as well. The Mishna even talks about how many months will be in Gehenim for. So how did the Rambam not bring it up? Doesn't openly describe Gehenim as one of the major punishments. So he was doing the Maimonidean controversy, where many of the Baalei Tosfos and others challenged the Rambam. So who came to the Rambam's defense? The Ramban and Maimonides, and he wrote a letter to the French rabbis. The French rabbis were the ones who were in the anti-Maimonidean group, and they had a lot of criticism of the Rambam. This point was one of them, and the Ramban writes back that you are wrong. He had a lot of criticism for the rabbis for challenging the Rambam's hashkafa, and the Ramban, in his letter to the French rabbis, after a beautiful introduction talking about the greatness of the rabbis that he's about to criticize, he first praised them, and then he says, "Rabbis, you're wrong, and you don't know what you are doing, challenging the great eagle, the Rambam, Maimonides, who brought so many Jews back to the fold." And it's true he doesn't mention 12 months of Gehenim. It is true Chazal mentioned 12 months of Gehenim. But the Rambam does talk about in Hilchot Teshuva the idea of eternal punishment, Olam Alamim. So he doesn't know about 12 months, so he doesn't learn Chazal when they spoke about 12 months, and that was fixed. But he does hold to some kind of place of punishment, even though he doesn't openly discuss the term and the details of it. But for the Ramban, as long as there's a hint in Hilchot Teshuva about a punishment, an eternal punishment, not simply loss of Olam Haba, but an actual punishment, that's how the Ramban sees the Rambam, even without using the term Gehenim, or even without getting into the details of the 12 months. So that part, for some reason, didn't take literally. But the idea of a Gehenim, of a person receiving a punishment, not just losing Olam Haba, Ramban says the Rambam holds up by that as well, and he says that the rabbis are wrong for challenging the Rambam and saying that Chas v'Shalom, he was off in a major area and not accepting a principle, whatever the principle may be, whether it's Chiyas HaMeisim or whether it's a principle of Gehenim. Shalom.